how they would meet each other again? Here it is, right? So Rhodey's here, right? So here's Carol. And of course, Rhodey has to act like a nervous teenager, saying that he's sorry to hear about her family losing her mom and almost losing her brother. Keep in mind, he's mentioning all this in front of this girl, who neither one of them know personally. Just imagine if you ran into your ex, right? Your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, whatever, and they decided to just spill all the tea about what's recently happened in your life, right? In public, or at least with another person here who neither one of you know personally, and who doesn't have your confidence. I know that if it were me, if a former lover or former friend of mine did that, I'd be right pissed off. Be like, why in the world are you talking about all my business to this person that we don't know? And of course, yeah, again, acts like a shy boy. Let me tell you something. If a black man acted like this, so awkward around a woman, right? I just thought it'd be awkward. And then he says again here when he says that he's sorry that he didn't reach out because it would be awkward. Yeah. Here's the thing. A black mother will slap her son upside the head for acting this way. Could we please stop writing black men as these scared characters? They're not. Black guys are actually very, very, very alpha. It's important to black men to be alpha. The only time you won't find an alpha black man is if he's intentionally subverting it, like if he's a drag queen or something like that, or if he's part of the LGBT community. Right? Outside of that, black men typically act very macho. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that's all of the LGBT community, but typically, at least in my experience, whenever I've seen a gay black guy, he's acted very effeminate because it's supposed to be going against the expectation of more traditional masculine behaviors. Just to be clear, I don't want people calling me, names or say I'm a homophobe or anything like that. I'm just reporting what I've seen. So then the one decent thing that Trini does here is that she points out how she sarcastically points out how it's not awkward at all, right, to be having this conversation. And then she quickly figures out that they used to be a thing. And of course, Carol always with the threatens to basically pull a "to the moon, Alice" on this poor little girl, saying that I'm the boss of space. You know that, right? And then the girl's like, yeah, we're not in space. And then Carol's like, well, I could hurl you into space. How nice of you, Carol. How nice of you. Offer help 1 minute, threaten to hurl the girl into space the next. And then, because nothing matters, Trini here, toxic Trini here, decides that she's going to go do touristy stuff. Despite saying just a few pages earlier that, she has toxic powers and they're leaking and she's dangerous. But now she's just going to go do touristy stuff. Like see the Statue of Liberty or ride the tram to that weird island. Roosevelt Island is not a weird island. Watch your mouth, kid. That's all I got to say. And then what happens next, or at least the next important thing, is that Carol and Rhodey have a little date. They really don't get anywhere in that conversation, but the reason I chose this page is because, take a look. I have these two panels here, other panel. They're getting closer. And then they get interrupted. Because this is Marvel Comics, where people who used to be romantically and sexually involved with each other don't kiss, because that makes sense. So who's interrupting their private little moment? A fake geek girl. This basic Betty here, who calls herself Ripley Ryan, who's with Miss Magazine, interrupts them with a bunch of cameramen, I guess, or something. And so what's his face? Rhodey says that, they should walk and talk, basically. They get ready to leave. Carol's talking about it can also be pretty dangerous. And then my man Carol, because let's be honest, That's a dude. That's a man getting shot. That's not a woman. That's not even a woman dressed in masculine clothes. That is a dude with long hair. Gets shot in the chest with a beam. And guess who shot her? Reza Ramon, chico. He's the shooter. He's oozing machismo, man. No, it wasn't Razor, though I wish it was. It's actually Nuclear Man. Nuclear Man. Also known as, according to Rhodey here, machismo. Machismo, machismo, same difference. Anyway, so he's the, he's got to be a caricature of a sexist, because his dialogue is too stupid. I came to see the great Carol Danvers. What a disappointment. Beautiful she may be, but Marvel lady. You mean Marvel girl? That's Jean Grey. She's in a different book. Get your stuff right. Has proven to be just another woman, no match for Nuclear Man. Now, I will admit that I do like the character design, right? It's very rough, very rugged, very masculine. I like the design. I don't like the colors. The colors are just drab, right? This dirty white, this brown. This is drab as all sin, but the design itself, the character design, I like. I just wish that there was more to this character, because there's nothing here. He's empty. Every damn character in this book is empty. So they start fighting, because of course they do. Rhodey calls for the Avengers, and although I can't show the pages, the Avengers do show up. They show up. They try to apprehend Nuclear Man here. He tricks them. He blows them all away. Doesn't really hurt them, but he just sends them flying with a nuclear blast or whatever it is. Keep in mind, again, no one thinks to secure the area and make sure that innocent people are not getting hurt. But the next important thing that happens is, what's his face? Nuclear Man wants to walk off with Ripley, and him and Carol are fighting. They're having a battle of wills, as it were. He tries to use the will weakening ray. It doesn't work. So Carol, as she's battling him and they're going back and forth, decides to try to choke him. Way to make her look absolutely useless and powerless, Kelly and Tamara and Carmen. She's choking this guy, and he's not. He looks fine. I guess he looks kind of like Trump. I don't know, but that isn't the point. He looks absolutely fine. Looks like nothing the first is bothering him. There's not even a speech bubble here. There's no speech bubble showing him struggling, showing that it's hard to breathe. At least in Life of Captain Marvel #5, when Carol was being choked by that roided out version of Mystique, at least there was actually speech bubbles there, showing that she's being choked. There's nothing here. And then this guy just says, unhand my royal personage, witch. Oh, there are so many other words to use for her. But anyway. And this is the issue I have. Female writers, typically Kelly Thompson, Margaret Stoll, and Kelly Sue DeConnick, who are the female writers who have written for Carol the most ever since she became Captain Marvel, don't know how to write a woman of strength. They want to portray a woman of strength, but they don't know how to write one. They don't know how to write, at least for Carol Danvers, they don't know how to write a woman who's physically powerful, who's mentally strong. And then they get mad at the fans who say, boo, I don't like this character. Let me show y'all what Carol used to be like back in the day. What happened when somebody made the really, really, really dumb mistake of pushing Carol to her emotional limits and pissing her off. This again comes from the Brian Reed run, right? So as you can see here, Carol is pissed, right? If you're not familiar with the Brian Reed run, this is a incident where some robot guy, I think it's Doomsday, had attacked a young girl named Anya that she references here. You tried to kill Anya. To basically get to Carol, right? Hurt the kid to get to Carol. This is how Carol responded to that, right? You tried to kill me. You tried to kill Anya. And you can see she's just tearing through him, right? He's screaming. And she shouts, all you can do is try to kill. Well, I was trying to kill. And then you see here she's pulled him out of his robot suit. She's got him by the throat. Right? He's just, wires. Maybe I should show you how it's done. You see, fierce, powerful, right? Pushed to her limits. This is what I grew up reading. A warrior pushed to her limits when she got this angry. We went from this, right? Again, this. To zoom out a little bit, just to get the full shot. To this. I can't choke him out. Keep trying. I can't choke him out. Get tossed away! And you wonder why I refuse to buy this trash? This is why I refuse to buy this trash. And then he says, anyway, back to the story. Razor Ramon here says that Carol's proven to be more of a challenge than he believed. He calls her again Marvel Lady. Again, that's the wrong person. You mean Marvel Girl. It's Jean Grey. That's the X-Men. Get it right. And that he will retreat and come back when victory is more easily secured. But first, he's going to take a prize, and he runs off with Ripley. He picks her up because, of course, he's a caveman, right? He's your caricature of a misogynist, so he picks her up like a freaking caveman. So what does Carol do? Carol, right, flies in to go save her. But here's the thing. You have these 3 thought bubbles here. And the first one is the most important because the first one is what establishes her motivation. So keep in mind, an innocent girl who was just, caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, has been kidnapped by this giant, crude brute of a man. Carol's dashed into this portal, which she doesn't know what in the world it could do to her. It could destroy her, it could crush her. She has no idea what it's going to do. She rushes in to save her, and here's her first thought. Here's her motivation. No, it's not going down like this. I'm not losing her to a weird portal and a 7-foot misogynist. This is our hero, everybody. This is our hero. This is her motivation. That she refuses to lose to a 7-foot misogynist. Her ego is her motivation. Fighting against sexism is her motivation. Not saving life, not protecting life, just her ego. And you wonder why people are not reading comics anymore. This stupid-ish like this is freaking why. So then we have Rhodey here, who sadly proved to be ineffectual. Shouting, Carol! And then you have this little joke here, these 2 guys, and it's like, I have to leave Manhattan. I know I say it every year, but this time I really mean it. Guy's like, me too. Boy, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Stupid comics like this make me just want to leave the city and leave comics behind. It's just that there's just too good of a backlog. I think that's the only reason I haven't, but seriously. Why should I spend my money on this? For the art? The art's very good, but the art is not worth, what, the $3-4 that they want? I'm a woman who likes story. If you give me a good story or a great story and you give me bad art, I'll buy it. You do the reverse, good art but terrible story, you will never see my money again. And then that's pretty much the end of the story. Now, I wanted to show the last page here, which was the last page of the book, which is the letter section, which is where Kelly Thompson is introducing herself, I guess, to the readers. And I'm going to read this to y'all. I'm probably going to make comments as I do, but I'm going to read it because I think this is a perfect explanation of why this little blurb here just represents everything that is wrong with the current crop of female writers in comics. I really comics in general, but especially the female writers in comics who are not held to any standards. So it says, "Hey there, Carol Core. Our Captain Marvel team is second to none." Again, this is Kelly Thompson. She wrote this. So it says, "Second to none. Before I relay a rather self-involved tale, like you haven't already, I want to call out how brilliant they are and how lucky I am to have them. Extraordinary editor Sarah Brunstad. Sarah, did you read this story? I think if you'd read this story, you would have told her to rewrite it." Anyway, it continues. "Sarah Brunstad brought us all together." And then in parentheses, "In my imagination, it's a bit like wrangling some grouchy deadline inverse cats. Because, of course, you're a walking, talking stereotype. Carmen Canero in her stunning lines, Tamara Bonvillain in her fearless colors, Clayton Cowles in his effortless letters, Amanda Connor, a straight-up icon. That I can actually agree with you on. And, of course, Will Moss watching over us all to make sure we didn't burn everything down. Well, honey, there wasn't much left to burn, but you did burn it a little bit more. You've made me dislike this version of Carol Danvers that much more, which is pretty damn hard to do because I hate it as it is. Or at least make sure it was a controlled burn. I couldn't ask for anything more. That's the problem. You should ask for more. I'm asking for more. I'm asking for better. Better art, better stories, better behavior. Marvel just doesn't want to seem to listen anymore." Anyway, continuing. "And yet there was more. Because how can something seem like a dream and also a little bit like coming home? I don't know, but I feel like I'm trapped in a nightmare of bad stories featuring my favorite characters, and it hurts my soul." Anyway, back to the paragraph. "Captain Marvel was the first hero I ever wrote for Marvel when I joined Kelly Sue DeConnick at the end of her iconic run." You mean the run where she ruined one of my favorite characters? Yeah, that run. "I got to co-write the Secret Wars miniseries Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps. It was, in a word, thrilling. I never imagined I'd get to return to her at a time when she's poised to become more important than ever to more people than ever." You mean the movie. "In the midst of that dream, however, was the impending doom of what a huge responsibility it was. No, honey, what you were feeling was just doom. To get it right, to do Carol justice, to do her readers justice, well, it's the kind of thing that can keep you up nights." I have no comment. "That kind of self-awareness can be deadly. If you had self-awareness, Kelly Thompson, if you had self-awareness while you wrote this, you would have wrote this differently." Continuing. "Right as I was in the middle of struggling with that first script, worrying about whether it was good enough to even be worthy of Carol and all her readers, Marie Severin died. Severin, a comics icon, co-created Spider-Woman, among many other contributions to comics. Captain Marvel was my first time writing Spider-Woman, a character I'd adored from afar until now. It probably should have caused me even more worry. Was I doing justice to Severin's creation? Instead, it had the opposite effect. I suddenly felt quite calm. That's concerning. Because thinking of all the good Severin had given to comics gave me the thing I had needed all that time. The thing we all need from time to time. Perspective. Oh God, I wish you had some perspective. I was doing the absolute best I could do, and that was quintessential Carol Danvers. Carol is brilliant and talented and powerful, but she's also forever screwing up, just like all of us. You're right, and you're wrong. Let me explain this. First of all, this whole, best I could do, being the best of the best thing, was a major theme in, again, Brian Reed's run. So you're treading land that's already been walked on. You're telling a story that's already been told. He told it better because he had Carol actually grow and change and realize by the end of the story that she didn't need to be a slave to PR, that all she needed to be was her best self. He did it in a way that was believable and true to the character. Not a writer I have seen, especially among Thompson, DeConnick, and Stoll, who have written for Carol ever since the reboot, have done that. I wish that they would write Carol as a flawed hero. But they haven't. They've been writing her as a failure hero. Someone who's a flawed hero, like Wolverine, like Classic Carol, like Batman, they can still excel at the hero part. They can still be a hero and protect people and save lives. It's just that they're a failure in other things, like, say, their personal relationships. You can write a person with flaws and still have them come across as strong. But these three writers, who have written for Carol the most ever since she became Captain Marvel, don't know how to write a strong but flawed person. Their idea of strong but flawed, apparently, is a failure hero. A failure hero is the very opposite of a flawed hero, because a failure hero fails at the most important thing, being a hero. Anyway, back to paragraph. And what separates her from... And what separates her from those of us who fail, what makes her inspiring, lies not in her power, but in her unwillingness to give up. Can you give up? Can you give up writing this book? Carol will never stop trying to save the day, and I love her for it. I hope you do too. I used to love Carol Danvers. I love the Carol Danvers she used to be. I hate what she's become. And then we have it down here. Kelly Thompson, Portland, Oregon. I think that alone pretty much just sums up everything that is wrong with this comic and with comics as a whole. You have writers who are telling stories that have already been told, treading land that's already been tread, trying to... I don't even know what they're trying anymore, aside from just self-inserts. And she gives herself away up here early, saying that before she relays a rather self-involved tale. Like the whole damn comic wasn't a self-involved tale. Anyway, I'm running out of breath. This has been almost an hour. It's actually longer than my other review. But I had fun making this file. I didn't want to print it out, but I had no choice. But I'm not sure I'll be doing it like this again, because that took me hours to actually put the file together. So I think I may just go back to doing off the cuff. But here's my my second now, comic review, but the first one with actual images from the comic and from other comics. So if you were willing to sit through nearly an hour of me ranting, please tell me what you thought. Have a good day and have a good night and have a good weekend. Bye.